These two guys have Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackie and Judd on SKOR North and SKORNorth.com.
Gobble, gobble, mother bleepers. This is our annual Turkey of the Year speculation episode here. We've got Darren Doogie Wolfson, our scoop monger from the KSTP 5 Eyewitness News Sports Department. And we just confirmed on Royce Unchained that the annual Patrick Reusse Turkey of the Year Award, the column that is usually posted late on Wednesday night into Thanksgiving morning, that he has selected a Turkey of the Year. We don't know who it is, but we will speculate. He's been formulating the column. The first ever Turkey of the Year, by the way, goes back to his Pioneer Press newspaper days in 1978. Judd, you know who it is, right? The first ever Turkey of the Year? Oh, you're muted, by the way.
I'll unmute him.
Yes.
Broadcast professional.
Yes, broadcast professional right here. Ohio State Buckeyes coach Woody Hayes,
Yeah.
who then a couple weeks after that punched a Clemson player on the sidelines, was fired or resigned as coach, thus starting a Patrick to basically claim that he was foreshadowing the future with the Turkey column.
Yeah. So Royce, the history is in 1978, which I think was still Patrick's drinking days. He's
That's
been
why he did
decades
it,
sober now. But he was in desperate need of a column idea so he could go out on the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving and enjoy a couple libations. And he just kind of threw together this concept, this Turkey of the Year, and he named Woody Hayes. And he spent the next 5 years, and he would highlight somebody nationally. Bobby Knight in 1980, Pete Rozelle. Actually, he did two different MLB commissioners, MLB and then NFL commissioner, George Steinbrenner. But then 1983 was the first year he ever did a local figure in Paul Giel of the Minnesota Gophers.
Yeah.
Les Steckel of the Vikings, the worst Vikings head coach in franchise history, 1984. Lou Holtz for Up and Leaving in 1985, and so on and so forth. Carl Pohlad is a multi-time winner. And so it's been mostly local all the way through now going into, year 35, I think, of the Turkey of the Year. And so it's going to be our job here, boys, to speculate on who might be the Patrick Reusse Turkey of the Year award winner.
The Giel one was quite unfortunate because as his first local winner, Patrick, I think, got a call shortly after the column was published. And keep in mind, this is, it came out in the newspaper. There's nowhere else to get it. Finding out that Paul Giel had undergone some type of emergency heart procedure. Oh. And so Patrick said, I have never hoped somebody lived more than Paul Giel did. So that was his first one. And yet he still pushed and kept doing it. The other thing is on Unchained on Monday, in which we talked extensively about the Turkey, he now says that this column keeps him up at nights. He sent me a text confirming something, and I looked at the timestamp, Sunday into Monday, 3 a.m. And I'm like, what the hell are you? He said, I can't sleep. I'm writing notes down. And I said, so let me get this straight, Patrick. A column that you once did so you could go get loaded on the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving because it was an easy column has now become the bane of your existence. How juicy is the irony in that?
Yeah.
Oh, it's incredibly juicy, right? I mean, this is it for so many people. Like, I think about my father-in-law. Forget the meal on Thursday.
Yeah.
Forget. He likes watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. But, the highlight of Thursday is Patrick's column. The committee has been meeting for weeks. I don't know. You guys don't know. So I'm very, very curious. We do know that for the most part, Patrick likes to think out of the box.
Yeah.
So, the obvious pick would be somebody with the Twins, right? After that epic collapse.
Yeah, and we can definitely go through all those.
Yep,
Yeah.
I agree.
They're at the table. Somebody is, although I don't even know who. Do you single out one individual? Or is it the collection? Is it the organization?
Yeah.
Are you sure it's the Pohlads? Is it Joe? Jim's involvement? Are you sure it's not the players collapsing? Rocco?
But
Falvey,
you're right.
the front office? I don't know how you differentiate among all those. But undoubtedly, I'm sure the Twins will have some sort of representation. But to think the Twins or somebody with the Twins will be Turkey of the Year, I can't go there.
I will say this. I'm hoping it's a person because there have been times where he's gone sort of big picture.
Well, last year was 20 years of wild hockey.
Yeah, and I think he did it. I think at one point he did 25 years of Wolves basketball, right?
That was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I am hoping. I prefer when it really narrows in and zings a person in particular. Just my preference.
Yeah. PJ Fleck did win it in 2018. So in terms of here's some of the previous, and we can go through our obvious and non-obvious candidates. So last year was 20 years of wild hockey. 2022 was Herschel Walker, the ex-Vikings running back who got beat in a Senate race. 2021 was Gerson Rosas, the disgraced former Timberwolves general manager. Mark Coyle, Gophers athletic director in 2020. 2019 was supposed to be the end. Like he basically said that this is it. 2018 was PJ Fleck. 2017 was the Turkey chairman himself, Patrick Reusse. 2016 was men's athletics at the U of M. 2015 was the Grim Reaper for taking Flip Saunders and other people. 2014, 25 years of the Timberwolves. And then Terry Ryan, Tubby Smith, Ziggy Wilf in 2011, roof collapsing, all that stuff. 2010, Brett Favre. 2009, Tim Brewster, Marion Gaborik, and we can keep going back. But, yeah, okay, let's start with Twins. And then these might be too obvious for Reusse, but Carl Pohlad's a two-time winner. Jim Pohlad never took home the Turkey of the Year. Joe Pohlad for coming in, and he's the enthusiastic new generation Pohlad, and it all ends in a fart noise down the stretch and the family selling the team after talking about right-sizing the business. So that's definitely...
Although there is nothing new on that front, Phil. I mean, there are interested parties, but this is going to be a lengthy process. But maybe more the reason to award Turkey of the Year to Joe Pohlad. Like so many people are like, just sell. You are going to make $1 bazillion. Think about what the family purchased the Twins for, what they can now sell the Twins for. But hey, they want north of 1.7 or 1.75 billion. Just accept 1.3 or 1.4. So, hey, maybe more the reason to award it to Joe Pohlad. But I don't think Patrick's going down that road.
Yeah, I think the thing with Joe, though, is so Jim didn't win it because, one, the Pohlads became more and more of pariahs. So Carl won it twice, but keep in mind, Carl won it after, I believe, they won the World Series in '87 because he wouldn't give his employees the day off to go to the parade.
Yeah.
So like that was a very pointed, like Carl doesn't win it if he just gives his employees the day off. But I feel like the Pohlads now, because Patrick, the one thing with Pat is he will always defy the consensus of the public. So like if people are like us, come on, Pohlads, blah, blah, blah. He'll be like, I don't know. Because like he glommed on to, he's now spent, what, Phil, 5 years or more mocking the cheap Pohlads thing.
Yeah,
he rips the Wilfs more than he rips the Pohlads.
I could see the Pohlads maybe purchasing some sort of cheaper version of the turkey of the spread at the table in the article or something.
Love it.
They found a discounted rate or something.
Right-size the banquet committee.
Yeah, that'd be there you go, Pat. There's a one-liner for you. Derek Falvey for somehow after 7 or 8 years of late season collapses, one playoff series win, never making any meaningful moves at the trade deadline, and he somehow stumbles into a gigantic promotion. He freezes out Thad Levine, Dave St. Peter, and gets promoted after all that. Again, I don't know that he's the odds-on favorite, but he has to be in the discussion for sure.
Corea with his foot and missing time and sitting out, another candidate.
Royce Lewis.
Oh, Royce Lewis.
Couldn't figure out the shoe. Yeah. No, I would put Corea above Royce. I really would.
I think so too.
Even though Corea, we've said this, team MVP. I'm not debating that, but it was too long a process to get back onto the field.
Right, but let's think like Pat does. Pat has decided that Royce is sort of a prima donna who hides behind being liked. Like these are all things that Pat processes and things. Like trying to get inside that man's head is a very slippery slope. And I've known the guy since '89, but it feels like Corea, Like Corea would be a good one, but like Pat has made Phil some offhanded remarks about Royce. I guess he's not as good as he thinks he is and stuff.
He'd love to stick the turkey fork in for never playing any games, really. Like I could see some jabs there. Byron Buxton too has, despite always being hurt, and like we celebrated the fact that didn't he hit like 100 games for the second time in his career or something? Yep. I could see a mocking jab at Byron Buxton being awarded for what an accomplishment. Played 100 Major League Baseball games for the second time in his career. There's a bunch of interesting Twins candidates.
Mm-hmm. But I don't think any ultimately win Turkey of the Year, right?
Yeah.
We have all these candidates. They have spots at the table, or at least we can make a compelling case. They belong at the table. I'm with you, Judd. That mind of Patrick's, that's a hard one to decipher. That's a hard one to pinpoint, but I don't think it's a twin.
Here's another one. Here's a dark horse, but Patrick loved this one. And I don't know that this could win, but it definitely, I think, gets a mention. That is the firing of Natalie Darwitz by the PWHL, and then Patrick's recommendation that their new name instead of Frost be the Backstabbers. He likes Darwitz.
Yes,
like it's this very odd, like no one still knows exactly what transpired, and I guess the players are all like, now, well, the league fired her. The league fired her. So I somehow would not be surprised if that league works its way into Patrick's column.
Oh, absolutely. That is a no-brainer. By the way, some reckless speculation on this Tuesday, since we're not doing an episode on Thursday. What about Natalie Darwitz as the next head coach of the St. Thomas women's program?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm the first person to suggest that to me.
Yeah. Okay, since you're going down this path, in terms of just getting inside the mind of Patrick Reusse, I know that the Minnesota Lynx made a somewhat unexpected trip to the WNBA Finals and were toe-to-toe with the New York Liberty. And 95% of the world's population is talking about how the league and the officials blatantly screwed over the Lynx. And Cheryl Reeve came out again. I could see, because Cheryl Reeve has never won Turkey of the Year, and Pat has tweaked her in columns for a decade, right? I could see Pat coming out and giving Cheryl Reeve her first ever Turkey of the Year for not drafting Angel Reese, and saying Angel Reese would have been that Cheryl's ego prevented drafting the best possible player and rebounder, and for that she deserves Turkey of the Year.
They were not a good rebounding team. In fact, they were a rock bottom rebounding team for a duration of the season. Angel Reese, elite rebounder. I think you're onto something. I don't know about Turkey of the Year, but absolutely in the column. Yes.
Okay. Is Cheryl not having won that award perhaps the biggest upset in Turkey history? Because, I mean, Patrick has gone after her in columns, on the radio, on our pod, like he has been critical of her for a good 6-7 years. I am amazed that she has not won it.
Yeah, that's why we can make our official predictions at the end, but that's why I threw it out. Okay, on Vikings real quick. There's not many obvious ones because the Vikings have had a fantastic season, and Pat generally loves Kevin O'Connell, and I don't think there's a whole lot. You could say maybe Kwesi for the 2022 draft class or something, but I'll give you two. Jordan Addison, not as Turkey of the Year, but at the table for his annual run-in with the law. I could see that.
Yep.
And I know that it's maybe too obvious or maybe too far in the rearview mirror, but Pat loves to troll Kirk Cousins and Kirk Cousins fans. So is there like a the dude's made $300+ million playing football, and once again he's sitting here 500 with his new team. I could see, because Kirk Cousins never won it when he was here for the 6 years, despite the Vikings coming up short. So I'll throw those two names out for Vikings.
It's weird. He sort of has, it feels like, steered clear of Kirk, despite the fact that, again, Kirk bugs him to no end.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do wonder, Patrick likes to do what we don't like, which is he crosses over into some political realms. I do wonder if Kirk Cousins would come back as a candidate. But again, I think Kirk Cousins seems to be too much low-hanging fruit for Royce.
Okay.
So I don't think there's a football one in here. I think if there's a dark horse from a professional men's team in town, I think it's Tim Connolly, because Royce hated, he had to go get Julius Randle. He holds the ball all the time, and that is there's Devin Cinzio or whatever his name. I wonder if Tim Connolly would get a late invitation for basically doing too much with a team that I think Patrick thought was fine.
Okay. Yeah.
I could see it. Yes. I mean, even if the Wolves win tonight, win Wednesday, so Thursday morning, they are then 10-8. You see Cat kicking butt, at least offensively, not defensively, but offensively for the Knicks. Why blow up a roster, a core that had home court in the Western Conference Finals? That means you're knocking on the door, right, of winning a championship. You're in the Final Four. Why would you decide to go in a different direction? Now, what about this? What about Tim Connolly's immediate boss? Now,
Well, which one?
Yeah, which one?
Well, this second, who is his boss? Who is the
Glenn
person
Taylor is also Patrick's
that is
boss.
in charge of Tim Connolly right
Glenn
this
Taylor
second?
ain't getting this award.
I mean, Glenn owns the paper.
They would-
that
I
would
mean,
be
if you went back to him,
wild.
That would be a walk-off.
You
and he would have to sneak
the
it.
owner of your newspaper. That is the ultimate walk-off.
Oh man.
And then the Patrick Substack starts the next day because he ain't working at the Star Tribune anymore.
And Glenn has never directly won it. Now, Glenn obviously was part of the 25 years of Timberwolves history in 2014, but Glenn has never won the award in 30 years of owning the Timberwolves.
I mean, you negotiate this convoluted multi-year process, this payment tier process, and now it's gotten, now through arbitration. Mediation couldn't solve anything. Like, you agreed to it to begin with. Why not then go through with that agreement?
Okay. You're sniffing really far down the trail here, and I want to follow you down the trail, but then take you to the Royce fork in the road. Royce acknowledging some of these shortcomings of Glenn and a bad deal, etc., but then stating the obvious in the column, which is, however, Glenn Taylor does a fine job allowing the Turkey of the Year column to continue to be printed.
Yeah.
So let's look at these other two guys who agreed to this layaway plan 3 years ago and still haven't been able to come up. These broke boys over here, right, who haven't been able to. They had to go summon Michael Bloomberg from New York just to get enough money, and they still might not get the team. So I would almost pivot everything you said over to A-Rod and Laurie.
Genius.
For all those reasons.
I think you're probably right. By the way, a little news on that. Well, not news, but I told you a couple weeks ago I would check before Thanksgiving. Crickets. As of literally this morning, nothing.
Yeah.
The independent arbitrator, the neutral arbitrator, Thomas Fraser, I'm told is incredibly meticulous, very deliberate. There isn't anything. So Glenn Taylor, Mark Laurie, Alex Rodriguez, all just waiting to hear what the decision is.
I think from my sniffing around, I think there's a chance that we don't get anything until after Jan 1 now. Thanksgiving, December.
Entirely possible.
December. Yeah. Those people aren't going to be putting in the billable hours in December. They're going to be off, sipping their drinks. Don't blame them. They're rich. So.
I think you're right, though, about that fork. That he goes that direction. Okay? So it's not Glenn. It's not Mark and Alex. Tim, yes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tim has to be in this mix. Although I'll continue to say Tim is brilliant in many ways, right? To be able to push that opt-out a year out.
That's more why Patrick
I'll give away the
him.
2031 first-round pick for Rob Dillingham because guess what? I may not be here in 2031. I'll give up all these first-round picks for Rudy Gobert. It doesn't matter. I'll be elsewhere.
I love Phil's fork, dude. I think damn, that's good because it'd be hilarious too. And then like he could actually have the 3-person arbitration panel overseeing the committee, like that there's been a kerfuffle in the committee. And like then they decide they can't.
It's come down to these groups for the Turkey of the Year
and there's
and
an
the arbitration panel.
Yes. That's genius.
Oh, I hope we didn't just spoil we've done this for
never
like
have.
10 years. We've never actually spoiled the column.
We've never spoiled.
We try.
We've tried, but we've never come close.
Yeah.
Like most years are like.
Okay, let's go around. Yeah, Dex, go ahead.
What about Twins fans? So like he ripped Twins fans for like calling the Pohlads cheap and pushing out the owners and wanting them. What about a collection of Twins fans? Because he's always also been very, not supportive, but kind of pushing back against the idea of cheap Pohlad narrative. Twins fans, I feel like, is another one that we could put in the Twins bin.
They don't show up to the ballpark. You know, they showed up 15 years ago, but they don't show up now.
They could make the column.
Yeah. I think whoever is in charge of cultivating NIL funds for the University of Minnesota could wind up making the column. I mean, Michigan just grabbed a quarterback for $12 million last week. Yeah. So that could be in play.
I will.
Is it Dinky Town Initiative or is it more the idea of NIL and that Michigan can do something like that and how the separation between the haves and the have-nots is as great as ever? Yes, programs like the Gophers will stumble into a Marcus Major, a backup from a different Power 4 program that maybe comes here, pops a little bit, but that truly, outside of unless you hit big time in the portal like Indiana, that you can have a pop-up year here or there, that the ceiling for a program like the Gophers is this year, 6 to 7 wins.
On Unchained on Monday, just a little bit more of Patrick's discussion. I will say this. He has lost complete interest in Gopher sports.
Yeah.
They are
He's
off
not the only
his
one.
radar. No, but my point is, I don't even know, besides just a joke about it, I don't know, he just doesn't care anymore. Because college basketball is beyond screwed up. And the football program is sort of just stuck, you know? Like, it's not really exciting. It just is stuck. So I don't know that he would have I don't think he would devote a lot of ink in his mind to go for sports.
Sure.
What about Gable Steveson?
Yeah, I thought about this too.
Okay, that's a good one.
I thought about this one too.
Now, to me, Gable, like, how much is he making? Speaking of NIL,
I'll say this.
Was this the most lucrative decision that he could have made? But
He was
Gable
sniffing
being all
around a
over
couple
the
weeks
place,
ago.
I wonder if Gable at least is in the mix.
What's that, Phil?
Yeah.
That there's not
Royce
complete
was-
apathy when it comes to Gophers athletics. That Patrick brings up Gable's name somehow, some way.
Okay.
My Turkey of the Year sources say that the committee was sniffing around Gable Steveson a few weeks back, and I don't know if it was something direct or if it was preparation for.
That's a good one. That's a good one. But that's a good one.
I'm sourcing that. That is a report right there by me. So okay, but before we
Who's your
before we
source?
get
Name your source.
I cannot name my source.
Name your sources, Olgad.
Before we get to our official predictions and anything left in Doogie's scoop bag here, Judd, let's I can tell you who's not the Turkey of the Year. The opposite, Finch Home Solutions.
No way, no how. You know why? Because Cody Finch and his team at Finch Home Solutions, their vans leaving this morning. Look at that right there. Headed to your house if you need repairs done. Any electrical issues in your house, guess what? Finch Home Solutions is going to take care of them, big or small. I'm talking about light switch changed. Guess what? Finch does that. Kitchen remodel, all electrical work done. No problem. Finch does that as well. Also, Finch wants to make sure that your home is as safe as possible. So they have free smoke and carbon monoxide system inspections as well. The special right now, 10% off all work plus 1 year Finch Friends and Family membership with a qualifying project. That includes priority dispatch, annual safety check, 10% discount on all future work. Hey, listen, Finch Home Solutions knows that there's nothing more important than the safety of your family. And that is why they do such a great job when it comes to any electrical issues that you might have. FinchHomeSolutions.com. Check them out, FinchHomeSolutions.com.
Nicolay Law is here, too, as the exclusive personal injury law firm of SKOR North podcast. Nicolay Law is proud to serve the local communities that they live in. They're just your normal everyday folks, the ones you see around at the gas station or maybe at the game, wherever it may be. They happen to have law degrees and smarts to get you the compensation you deserve after an accident. So if you're looking to find out more, if you or a loved one has been injured, get Minnesota's local award-winning injury lawyers. Get Nicolay, nicolaylaw.com, or give them a call at 1-855-NICOLAY. Okay, official Turkey of the Year predictions. Declan, go first.
It'll be Twins related, and I'm gonna even though it's obvious, I'm gonna stick with Pohlads. I'm gonna stick with Joe Pohlad.
The family, or Joe?
I think Joe.
Okay. Doogs.
Boy. I mean, this is recency bias. It's not going to be Joel Johnson, the outgoing St. Thomas women's hockey coach, but what a moronic decision to re-enter the women's locker room. Like, when you coach women, there is a protocol. Fine, melt down on them. They played like crap in that series opener in Bemidji a couple Fridays ago. But then to re-enter the locker room, to go ape bleep, like, what the heck were you thinking? You weren't thinking. Very accomplished head coach, the 2022 USA coach, led the women to the silver medal. Future, incredibly bright. Joel Johnson, what the heck were you thinking? But I go back to the Wolves. There's something there with the Wolves. Maybe it is Cheryl, though. You know what? For sake of an on-the-record prediction, I think it'll be wrong, but I'll go with Tim Connolly.
Okay.
Yeah,
Judd?
that's what I was gonna go with, because I think it has to be high profile enough that it's fun, but still Patrick is gonna do something weird. I was gonna say Conley, but since Dukes said that, I'll take a different tact. I will go that this scenario plays out, because I love this, that there's some talk about Glenn, and that then it gets turned to what Phil said, A-Rod and Lori, just because it's so funny. And that would be a great finish. So
it would be fantastic, yes.
I'll go with that. But yeah, Conley, I think, is a good one too.
Okay. I'm going Cheryl Reeve. Reeve.
All right.
First time in her career history. No one's going to see it coming, but it's exactly the type of choice that he would make, to go against the grain and to fire people up, to tweak people. So it's going to be Cheryl. That's my prediction. Dukes, give us any rapid fire scoops in your scoop bag here before we say goodbye.
Well, I was told Vikings, at least one team official had a conversation with Daniel Jones last night. So it came out over the weekend that the Vikings are in the mix. The Ravens are in the mix. I was told the Lions have made a phone call. There's 6 or 7 teams trying to sign Daniel Jones. The Vikings are one of those teams. Keep in mind, the Vikings have an excellent relationship with his representation at Athletes First. The Vikings have a nice little connection, too, with, you think about Kyle Rudolph, friends with Daniel Jones, former New York Giants teammate. They have that agency connection. Just some things to think about. You know, the Vikings are in the mix. We should get some closure on this relatively soon. Doesn't mean he's coming here, but the Vikings absolutely do want Daniel Jones. How about this for some reckless speculation? So Mac Brown out as the North Carolina coach this morning. I'm not suggesting he's leaving, but I do believe PJ Fleck's name is going to come up for that job. I do.
Interesting.
Now, maybe it'll be agent driven. We'll sift through it this time next week. But I'm just saying, don't be surprised if you see PJ's name attached to that job. We'll see a number of names, right? The Kansas coach, go up and down the list. We'll see a number of names attached to that job. But I'm just saying, I would not be shocked if PJ Fleck's name is attached to that job. Caleb Thielbar, Twins free agent, crickets. No interest so far in a reunion. Caleb, sure, but from the Twins standpoint, nothing quite going on there if you're curious about whether Caleb Thielbar will re-sign with the Twins.
Yeah, I stayed up all night thinking about that exact
Oh, I'm sure you
conundrum
did.
for the Twins.
Might be time to get into the real world. Might be time for a real job, Caleb.
He was
Go
for a
support the
while.
wife.
I know.
She's an excellent basketball coach.
Yeah. All right, Dukes. Happy Turkey Week,
Happy
and good
Thanksgiving,
luck
boys.
with your Turkey of the Year prediction there.
Absolutely. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody who consumes this. Appreciate it.
Darren Doogie Wolfson from the 5 Eyewitness News Sports Department. This has been your Turkey of the Year, your Patrick Reusse Turkey of the Year pregame show.